15 knockouts, 0 submissions, 6 decisions. Is Joaquin Buckley any good? The welterweight division has experienced a real changing of the guard over the past year, and it's now become a division with hardly any veterans. They've all been swallowed by this new wave of MMA talent, and things are starting to get really interesting in regard to the top 5 and the title. The list of fighters that I think that could strip the title off of Bilal Muhammad is honestly getting bigger and bigger every year. And Joaquin Buckley is one of them. Since May of 2023, he's gotten himself 6 victories, 4 of them being finishes over respectable opposition. He's a great example of how staying active in such a tough sport can be really rewarding, but not without a level of risk, of course. Meanwhile, others want to take time off, play headlines, stir drama, and ultimately waste their prime years. Not Buckley. Numansa burst onto the scene with a viral head kick that I'm sure you all have seen and are probably even sick of at this point. He also does a great job marketing, calling out opponents on social media, and actually building up a brand, which most fighters don't dedicate any time towards. But while he gained a ton of notoriety and hype, his fight style still needed to be ironed out. He lost a lot of his early momentum because he was knocked out shortly after this star-making performance and had trouble rebuilding against middleweights. Welterweight is his new home, and he's made it to 6-0 so far, knocking out the big names and calling his shot against fellow challengers. He's a short, stocky guy, long arms, explosive, excellent cardio, and he's slowly learning to dial in his skills a bit better. But is his style too old school to get respect at the championship level? Well, it's worked for him so far, but like I said, these new 170 prospects are all new age killers gunning for the same gold. Let's see how Buckley stacks up against the best in the world. Joaquin Buckley, a southpaw slugger with exceptional cardio and a championship mentality. Strike accuracy, 37%. My theory as to why this is so low is because Joaquin is swinging. He has a very unique striking style, I get shades of Mike Tyson. So what we're seeing here is about 1 in every 3 strikes Buckley throws actually lands. Strikes landed per minute, 4.2. Strikes absorbed per minute, 3.1. Takedown average of 1.7. This came about once he moved down to 170. Submission average, 0.09. He does not have a submission yet. Takedown accuracy, 45%. Strike defense, 59%. Takedown defense, 74%. I can't stress enough Buckley's athleticism. From pushing Imavov to the brink to physically breaking Colby Covington, he has very high-level fitness. Knockdown average 0.8, and an average fight time of 10 minutes 39 seconds. And this is how Joaquin Buckley is most likely to win fights. Buckley is a guy you can't afford to make any mistakes against, or it will quickly spell trouble. He's been known to open up cuts on guys, swell eyes shut, and he beats up the body quite nicely. He's a great short-range fighter, quite boxing heavy, and there's nothing wrong with this. I think it goes hand in hand with his blast takedowns too. On taller opponents, he's closer to the hips and does a good job with double leg tackles. Just wish he had a submission game on top of this, but ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of ground and pound. Strengths are fight-ending punches, good blast takedowns, constant movement. Weaknesses are too aggressive at times and no proven submission skills. Joaquin wins by not necessarily waiting for openings like a traditional fighter would. He's a bit of a wild man. He'll create openings, crashing in, getting creative with kicks and movement. I like him when he's brawling, honestly, because he has the build for it, short, stocky, Geodude. But against certain opponents, they won't let you brawl. Once you have somebody hurt or gassed out, then you can bring out the bombs. Buckley has lost a fair bit in the past by getting caught on the chin in striking range, some mean punches from Kevin Holland and Chris Curtis, and a head kick out of nowhere from Alessio Di Chirico, who's long gone and retired. But these were middleweights, and likely around 200 pounds or more once in the cage. Buckley hasn't faced much adversity or got caught like this since his move down to 170. But that issue still remains in his game. He loves to come forward with the head movement, slipping, but it's still going to be dangerous moving forward. Now that he's moved down a weight class, people are even faster. Best performance was against Albert Duraev. This was vintage Buck. Steady movement to avoid being taken down, timing Duraev's takedowns with jump knees and swelling his eyes shut, and using his athletic gifts to completely nullify a wrestler. He used his power to cause heavy damage and force a doctor stoppage. This was at 185 pounds quite a while ago, but if Joaquin can recreate this game plan against these 170 grapplers, I think he's got a real shot at being champion. Most fun, his gunfight with Nasruddin Imavov. Sold out Accor Arena in Paris, France. 15,000 in attendance, it sounded like 50,000. All action battle between these two. Buckley was crazy undersized and outgunned. He was having trouble landing anything on Imavov, who we didn't really know at the time, but he's currently the #1 contender now. Buckley swung like crazy, but just couldn't find his mark, and Nasruddin's got great defensive skills. But still an awesome fight, with the crowd going absolutely nuts. So in all honesty, it's a loss that's aged wonderfully for Joaquin, and he never broke or quit on himself in this one, so I can respect that. Imavov also made it fun with showboating as well for bonus points. I don't think Buckley's stock dropped too much from this. Notable wins and losses, the Impa Kasanganai knockout did make him famous for obvious reasons. It's the type of KO you see out of a movie or a video game. I mean, leaping spinning back kick to the face. Buckley will never be able to live up to this finish ever again, but that's okay. He gave us one of the best knockouts in MMA history. And of course, this was cursed to happen in the apex. With a live arena, he would have blown the roof off that bitch. His most recent wins came by stoppage over Colby Covington and Stephen Thompson. These were great wins. I mean, Colby is a washed-up degenerate these days, but he does still have elite cardio and a real wrestling pedigree. And he was able to knock Wonderboy out cold. In Stephen Thompson's long and tenured career, only a very few amount of people have been able to knock him out, let alone drop him. This was an ugly KO from Joaquin. I loved it. Let's speak on his losses, which all came at 185 to much bigger men. Imavov currently sits as the #1 contender, having knocked out former champion Israel Adesanya. And Buckley stuck it out and fought against all odds. His stock didn't drop from this. It definitely did against Kevin Holland. You know, he had a bad debut. Now, he may not be an elite fighter by any stretch, but Kevin Holland in your debut is some pretty crazy work. Joaquin was undersized here and hyper-aggressive. This was crazy entertaining for as long as it lasted, with Holland taunting and emoting at him, and Buck was just going apeshit looking for the KO blow. He seemed pretty clout-hungry in this debut, and probably could have dialed it back a bit more and become more composed, and maybe had a better performance or even find the win on Holland. Chris Curtis was losing to Buckley until he wasn't. It is what it is. This was the loss that he finally decided to change divisions. Sometimes you gotta look past the fight style and see what the fighter is actually really doing it for. Why are they risking injury and humiliation in a cage fight in the first place? You must see why they fight. And Joaquin Buckley fights for family. He is a bit of a loudmouth and social media addict, I won't lie, but it's all smart marketing. We don't want boring fighters. They all have the power to use their words to impact their direction in the sport, and more should do it. Call out some names, push some buttons online, and you just might find yourself an edge in a fight. Joaquin Numansa Buckley is B tier. B tier for Buck. As always, thank you for watching. Drop your favorite Numansa moment down below. It cannot be the spinning back kick. That moment's already been played enough by the UFC, and I'm afraid it's lost its edge. MMA makes no fucking sense, but I'm out here trying to put it all together. Until next time.